What is going on? And welcome back to the Behind the Cage Door podcast here on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure you go down below and subscribe, like, comment, do all those good things. That way you can stay up to date with more stuff. Now, I'm sure you watched our previous episode, our second part with Gabe Rednose, but today I'm bringing a special episode with recent UFC Dana White Contender Series signee, Dylan, the Mindless Hulk Budka. Now, this guy, it meant a lot for me to interview him. He's the second Baltimore guy on the podcast, him and Tucker Lutz, both UFC guys. Make sure you go check out both those interviews because those guys definitely have some very insightful stuff about the sport and their careers. But before we get into the episode, just a quick shout out from our sponsor, good old Nitric. Oxide cold water plasma. This stuff's delicious. It's clean energy. It's exactly what you need. Best on the market. And not only do they have the cold water plasma, they've got this beautiful zeolite detox, great for weight management. You're going to hear us talk to Dylan, and he might call himself a fat boy because he likes to eat, just like every good Maryland native knows how to do. But this stuff's going to help you with the guys over at Good State Health Solutions. So make sure you go down below, check out the link. Right now, they're running a limited time deal. Use the code Jake45 to get 45% off your order. And if you're watching this in the future, because you're going to want to know about Dylan, the code is Jake15 for 15% off your order. But without further ado, let's get into the interview. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to the Behind the Cage Door podcast. I'm here today with a real special guest. It is Dylan, the Mindless Hulk Budka. How we doing, Dylan?
Pretty good, bro. How about you?
Oh, man, it's a great day to have a great day. Out here representing the Baltimore Ravens because my boy here,
sir.
Baltimore representative, shout out to 410. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes,
There
sir.
we go. Baltimore, baby. Baltimore. Got it tatted on the skin.
Yes, sir. I mean, everybody that's from Baltimore, everybody from Maryland knows what a great place it is to be. I'm actually going back there later on today. Very excited to go see my family. I think this is the perfect place to start. What's your number one thing from Maryland? And before I let you go, I'll give you mine. I love the crabs. I mean, you can't go wrong with a good Maryland crab. Talk to me about your favorite thing about Maryland.
I love the crab pretzels, bro. The crab pretzels, bro. Right before I got my last fight, I smashed the big ones from man, Grossbeck's.
Okay,
You
never
know what
heard
I'm
of that
talking.
place. Nah, but
It's one of the grocery stores in Maryland, but it's down in Essex area. But I got the big crab pretzels, bro. It's like the size of like 10 of them together, and I was smashing them right before I got the call. That's probably why I was so fat.
you know what, man? I feel like I heard you say that a couple times. I mean, you an eater. I mean, and you've shown it. You fought at different weight classes. I mean, what is it to you that allows you to get up and go and fight at heavyweight, and then you're also able to work your way down the chain, light heavyweight, middleweight. I mean, maybe welterweight. I mean, what allows you to go ahead and do that?
Um, I do a lot of like agility workouts like that and stuff like that to keep me strong and healthy and able to take the impact from people twice my size or three times my size. And then if I need to, I can cut some food out and go down to my weight class that I meant to be at. But I think the main thing that allows me to do that crazy stuff I do is my will, and I got a strong will that if I want that to happen, I'm gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure that strong will comes a little bit from your wrestling background. That I know you started late in life. I mean, you had to my boy from my high school, Owings Mills, an Elling, the county championships, and you did that at heavyweight, and you were dominant. And you only started as a junior, is that correct?
Yeah, I started wrestling my junior year of high school, and then I wrestled him my second year of wrestling. That match was so like hyped up too. I remember that match specifically because they had to put the whole tournament in one day because it was a winter. It was because there was a bad winter storm coming. So me and him actually wrestled that match at 3 a.m. in the morning, and the whole tournament stayed to see me and him go at it.
That's unreal. I mean, and if you really think about it, I'm now in Florida. Hurricanes are what we deal with it. Up in Baltimore, the snow, it gets crazy. And I can only imagine trying to cut weight in the snow. I mean, ooh, that time of year is
Yeah.
probably a little rough to be wrestling. And you're doing it at 3 a.m. in front of a crowd. And you
Yeah.
took 2 years of wrestling experience and you parlayed that into a college scholarship.
Yeah, that I was very blessed to get one. throughout high school, I was thinking I was going to be a football star. I thought I was going to go to the NFL. I thought I was going to be a baseball player. And then I walked into the wrestling room and fell in love with it. I think I fell in love with the fact that it was an individual sport. Everything was in my hands. And yeah, I got a full ride and I took it on 100%. And now I'm sitting here talking about it with you.
And that's amazing. I mean, every kid's journey is to make that level, to get to college and be able to get themselves a degree. And I mean, me myself, I played baseball, I played football, I played basketball. Look at me, I'm not playing in college or pro. So I wish I was in the spot that you're in. And I think it seems like athleticism. It was always something that came natural to you. You might have said earlier that you were a little fat, but I see you up on the scales, ripped and jacked and ready to go. I mean, your nickname's the Mindless Hulk. So I want to pull up the timetable of your MMA career because I don't want to speak for you, but the MMA came after college and you picked it up quick too. And so I think the path, it's kind of unthinkable what you did. I mean, you went January, 2 weeks later, you fought in February, then you fought in April, June, July, August, September, October, November. That's just 2021 as an amateur, not even considering the fact that you boxed as well during that time. Then you said, let's turn around 2 months later in January and become a pro. There you said January, February, March. A week later, again in March, April, May. Then you said 3 months off, August, a couple more months, 2023 hits, January, June, August, and then again, Dana White Contender Series in September. I mean, how in the world did you pick up this sport late in life and then go ahead and just fight, and turn around and pick everything up so quickly and do it with such a high level of success? You barely lost. I mean, and now you're in the UFC 2 years later. So talk to me about the journey you've been on.
After you just explained it like that, it makes me sound even a little bit more crazier. That's probably the best somebody's explained it since I've done it. But yeah, bro, it was crazy when I got into the gym. I was like, I'm trying to do this. And my coach Gary Young, he was like, if you're trying to do it, let's do it. And I was like, I want to fight as much as possible. I want to go take on the best guys. I want to go take on the best amateurs. I want to really prove to myself I'm able to do this and do it full time. And ever since then, I took on all the fights as an amateur. I went against the top people from Alabama, Kentucky, Ohio, Pittsburgh. I traveled all over to do boxing fights. We flew people in to fight me for promotions at the places I started at Venue 18 and stuff like that. And I didn't take no easy fights. I didn't have no easy competition. My first fight as an amateur was against the #1 guy in Kentucky, 3-1. I don't even know how it passed through for me able to fight him, but it happened. And then as a pro, I had the same game plan. I was like, I want to prove to myself, I want to prove to everybody that I can do this and I'm able to be here. And I'm staying healthy. I'm being smart in my fights. I have good recovery. I'm young. I'm hungry. And I really don't think that there's a reason to take a year off after fights as an amateur because you're not there yet. You're not doing it yet. You're not in the biggest part that you could possibly be. Why take a big break where like you have an amateur fight, you get to finish in the first round, and now I see amateurs taking off 9 months. I'm like, you got to go fight, man. You got to fight. I was taking MMA fights. The next week I was going to get a boxing fight. The next week I was doing a jiu-jitsu match. Then we're back to MMA fights, and then I was doing a jiu-jitsu tournament, a boxing fight, a title fight. Like my whole 2021 was fights every single week, and that's not over exaggerating at all. And it's helped me be more comfortable in the spotlight and around the big crowds because I fought in front of crowds that hated me because I was coming to their hometown, and I fought in front of crowds that loved me. And it just it allowed me to be prepared for the big show where like the Dana White Contender Series, UFC, and I'm real comfortable now. And having all them fights allowed me not to be nervous anymore, just anxious to get in there and show my skills.
And it's clear you love it. I mean, if you don't just look at the schedule, you can hear it in the voice. I mean, it's clear you love it. And don't get me started about that LFA title fight. You totally won that belt. I mean, you should have a belt on your resume. And I think that just speaks to truly the fact that you really, I mean, there is no BS. You really took the hardest fights in every step of your career. I think you were an underdog in almost all of your fights.
Every single one.
And I think you embrace that, just like Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I mean,
Oh
Lamar said it
yeah.
last week. He loves being the underdog. I mean, what is it to you about being the underdog?
Um, it motivates me more. Like I see that I look at I try not to as much, but I'm like, let me go see what they're talking about when I get bored and I see that I'm the underdog. I see that the rankings say 90% knockout to my opponent and me 10% chance to win. I'm like, oh, what? What you talking about? I ain't no pud. Why are you doing that to me, man? Like I really do this. I do this every day. I do it 3 times a day, and it fuels me a little bit more because I know that they're like, this young ass kid, he can't do it. And I'm like, nah, I can do it. And I think that I'm starting to get the respect from people because they're seeing, oh, he's actually doing this now. He's going against the Russians. He's going against the people out of country. He's going against the top wrestlers, the top strikers, the top kickboxers, and he's putting up a fight every single time. And he's showing that he's able to be up there with the top people in the world. And one of my goals was to prove to everybody that I can do it, but my main goal was to prove to me that I can do it. And I've proved that to myself, and it's starting to become funner to train and not train angry. I'm just happy I'm able to train and do it because I know I'm there now.
And I feel like that comes from your strong support system. So real quick, I want to shout out Drake real quick for helping us get this set up. I know all the guys over at Holy Hill Media, they've been helping support you. And you mentioned it earlier, Demolition Fight Team, your coaching staff. I think one thing I really noticed, besides the fact that, obviously you love to wrestle, but, you throw a whole lot of different stuff. I've seen some cool Superman uppercuts. I've seen kicks to all 3 levels. I mean, you're not just a wrestler and you're not just a standard traditional striker. And the last thing is you have those intangibles. You listen to your corner very, very well. So what is that relationship like between you and your coaching staff at Demolition Fight Team? And, how does that translate into the octagon for you?
As soon as I came to Demolition, me and my coach got like a real like father type of bond. Like I really look up to him. I listen to everything he says. But one of the main traits I have as a person and an athlete is I'm real coachable. I don't think I know it all. I don't sit there and act like I know everything because like I'm still learning. I'm learning on the go as I'm doing this sport because of how short I've been into it. Like I'm learning in the fights what not to do because I'll get punched in the face off of something like, oh, I cannot do that no more in my fights. Like I've learned a lot of what I know just fighting in the cage while I'm doing it when other people are learning it in the room. But I'm learning a lot in the room still, but I'm learning a lot of what I should and should not do while I'm in the cage fighting these guys. But I think the the bond that me and my coach have and like I don't ask for any other cornerman to come with me. It's just me and my coach. I see these guys that have 3, 4 cornermen in the thing, and I'm like, I just need my coach. He's loud as hell. I can hear him. He's good. I don't want all the voices and the no, do this. No, I just need my coach, and we're gonna go take that double way. Like he's been my guy for 3 years now, and I respect him and trust him fully just as much as Drake. It's more. It's not like a coach athlete. It's like a brother bond between me and all my friends and all my teammates. It's real family like around me.
I mean, that's amazing. And I think really a lot of people don't get that. And to me, the way you describe that, that really reminds me of like my high school football team. And,
Yes.
it's your brothers in arms. And even though it's an individual sport, you're still taking the lessons that you've learned along your way in team sports and or you're applying it to MMA, which is really impressive to me. And I think with what you're doing right now, you're in the UFC 3 years later. Clearly Dana White took notice. I mean, you won off Dana White Contender Series, and I actually was very lucky to speak with Peyton Talbot recently, another season 5 winner.
Nice.
And so one thing that he was talking about was how he thinks it's stupid to sit around and rest. You got to get in there and fight. So do you think that this mentality you have might become the new school of MMA? Because it seems like a lot of guys, they just take time on the shelf and they wait and wait for the right matchup.
Yeah, I really think if I don't know if it's gonna become the new trend or not, but I think that if you really want to make it, it has to be the trend because like they're not looking for 2, 3 fights when you're an amateur. They're not looking for 2, 3 fights as a pro that you beat up some bums or guys that barely do it or do it as a hobby. They're looking for the guys that say, all right, I'm gonna take this fight on 4 notice, cut the weight, and do it no matter what. They're looking for the guys that are like fighting this day, fighting that day. They'll travel here, go there, do this because they see that they really want it. They don't want the guy that says, oh, I'm gonna fight now. Maybe next year I'll fight. Maybe this time I'll fight. They like even the most exciting guys in as a pro in the UFC, they're fighting multiple times out of signing. He's had multiple main event fights in the last year and a half, 2 years, over and over again. He's in my weight class. I'm gonna have to beat him up soon, but I respect that. I respect all the guys that do it every day because it shows you really love this and you're trying to do it. If you're doing one amateur fight a year, you're not trying to do this. You don't care. You don't want to try and do this. And if you're healthy, why not do it? If you're trying to make it to the top, because you might as well fight every single chance you get, because this your first portfolio to show to people as a pro.
And so you're doing this full time, right?
Yeah, I've been doing full time since I started.
That's amazing. And not a lot of people get to do that from the start. And that just shows your level of commitment. And again, that support system that you have around you. And so I see you got the little MH up there. I know that brand's going to help you now that you're pro in the UFC. You want to shout out? I know you got some new stuff going on.
Oh yeah, man. I'm very blessed to have the people around me helping me. It was so cool because like you dream about that stuff when you're younger, like clothing, shoes, all types of stuff like that. And Drake's helping me with that a lot too, like getting my message out. I made this logo actually by myself, and like
That's
I like this.
unreal.
Yeah, I designed it and stuff like that, and put it together. I was like, oh, I really like that one. And as soon as we got the contract, I was like, I want that logo because I feel like it kind of explains me, bold. It's like my swoosh symbol for real. That's like my little Nike swoosh symbol. And I've done a lot of work and studying like how to promote myself, how to get my name out, my brand, and follow myself and express myself through like my merchandise and stuff. But we got athletic line coming out soon. We got a regular clothing line coming out soon. I teamed up with Millions, who works with Henry Cejudo. They're dropping a clothing line for me also. I'm very blessed to be able to do all that stuff. All that stuff's the fun stuff we like doing behind the scenes. So I'm super excited to see everybody around wearing my stuff in the UFC crowd.
Yes, sir. And it's so cool. It looks amazing. I mean, you should be proud of that because it looks great. And I know it's going to fly off the shelves. Where can people follow you and follow this journey? Because I have to say, your social media presence is large and you just climbed over 75,000. So
Yeah,
congratulations on that.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. I'm gonna send you some gear too, so you can rock it in your interviews too.
I appreciate
But
you.
yeah, Mindless Hulk on Instagram. Mindless Hulk pretty much everywhere now because we figured out how to make sure that's everywhere on my name and everything like that. And then my website to order my merch and where I'll be dropping my athletic line is mindlessmaniacs.com, where you can become a mindless maniac today.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, that's all. I appreciate everybody that will follow me. I thank you for 75K. That's awesome. And I was just talking to Drake about this today. It's awesome that I'm able to tell my story now and have people gravitate to it and listen to it now that I have the platform I do.
Absolutely. And I was scrolling through your social media, preparing myself for this interview. And, I saw something that was very special. There was a message that you sent to some children in school. And so I know you're really working hard, not just for yourself, but also for the community. And you're giving back and using your profile, which is something that's very amazing. And so for anybody that's watching this that maybe didn't watch the Dana White Contender Series, I mean, that win was big for you. And the emotion, it was I think it brought everybody, to feel a little emotional themselves. I mean, it's a very deep story that you've got going on, and I just I want to hear from you. You've had some time to reflect. How much does it really mean for you to get that contract, and for Dana White to say he believes in you?
Oh man, past 3 4 years I've went through some crazy stuff. I've lost both my parents. Before I started fighting, I was homeless. I was living in the bottom of a basement of my best friend's house, sleeping on literally pillows and a blanket that covered him up, and we were all split up halfway. I still picture it in my head every day. I actually visited the place I was staying at before I left for the Dana White Contender Series fight. I was in the basement that I was sleeping in, and I know all them moments were to prepare me for that exact moment that was happening right there. And when I got my hand raised, I was nervous that I didn't get the contract because of the performance, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm happy. I'm at peace now. I just did something that no one expected me to do. No one believed, not many people believed. And then when he said, "Get your ass over here, you got the contract," I felt like I could barely walk. I didn't even know if I could get up or not because I could feel everything lift off my shoulders and I felt happy. I just felt happy, and I hope everybody at least once experiences what I felt that night, because it's hard to explain. It's hard to push it off to somebody that hasn't yet, because I'm able to train happy now. I'm able to sit here and talk to you happy about it now. I'm able to talk about my dad, my mom passing, and not choke up or cry or be upset about it because of how hurt I was about it. And I'm able to know he was at peace. I know my mom's at peace. I know my dad's at peace. And now, me personally, I'm at peace because of what I'm able to do, and that I'm able to tell my story and how many people are inspired by it. The sport's done way more than me, just allow me to make money or allow me to get my hand raised. It's allowed me to find out who I am as a man personally. And now that I know I'm a man, I'm able to come together and maybe help other people become who they want to be, or inspire them to find their true craft, or help somebody become a man or a woman and find their true meaning in life. And it makes me feel good to be able to inspire thousands and millions over the world now.
And that's so amazing, man. I mean, to come from the same place I came from, and have your own journey and be able to persevere and have that vision and that dream, and actually go achieve it. But that means a lot, and I think that's something that's very special. And so, how do you really channel that? I mean, you're now going into the cage. I feel like it's so easy for that adrenaline that you have built up with all that emotion just to dump. How do you control yourself? Because you fight anything but mindless. I mean, you might be aggressive, but you're not wild. So how do you channel that so that way you can go through with your game plan and find that success?
Oh, it was definitely tough to figure out how to control it as all of it was going on. Like in my fights after my dad passed and after my mom passed, it was definitely difficult to figure out how to control everything I was doing in there and not just be angry in there. So I've heard that a lot. Everybody calls me the Mindless Hulk, but I'm very smart in there. I got good high IQ in there. But I think me knowing that I belong there now, and knowing that I can do it, I can be myself, I can go do the craft I know how to do, how I do it every day. It's my job. I do it every single day. It kind of just takes over and my body starts flowing, and then I just do what I do. I practice every day, and now it's just having fun now. Like before, when I was an amateur, I would get nervous before I got in there. And if anybody says they weren't, they're lying. But I definitely was shitting myself before all my fights when I was amateur. But now I'm just anxious to get in there. I'm not nervous no more. I'm having fun. I'm like, I'm ready to show everybody what I'm able to do. And I'm excited to show the UFC my first fight with a full fight camp, not 4 days notice, everything I was supposed to do, because I know that fight was boring, my last fight. So I'm really excited to show everybody what I'm able to do with a full fight camp where I'm prepared and ready to go.
And you know what? I feel like, yeah, maybe you could classify that last fight as boring, but at the end of the day, you went through, you put your game plan in. I mean, he was taller and longer than you. He had to notice, he knew what was going on, and you imposed your game plan. And he was also a very good grappler. He's got some good striking. I mean, that was no slouch of an opponent. So nothing to hold your hat on. And I think I know you said you want to do a full fight camp, but you had a little cut after the fight. I don't see any cut. I mean,
We're pretty again.
it's looking good. I mean, are we
Yeah.
ready? When are we ready to fight again? I mean, it's crazy
Uh,
not
I'm
seeing you for a few months.
that has been I've been messaging a lot saying, what's going on? What's going on? We're actually gonna go up to the PI in a couple weeks here soon and check on if I'm able to make 170, because Boss Man said he wants me at 170. So we're gonna go see if I can even make 170. Go through the testing, see if I'm healthy enough to make 170. But with the UFC, they got different stuff that I've never been access to that will maybe allow me to make it. But if it doesn't happen, then we'll go 85 and take over middleweight. Or if we can make 170, we'll take over 170. But I'm aiming for the late December, early January right now. Hopefully, maybe getting on the Conor McGregor prelims or something like that. I would absolutely love to be on the McGregor prelims, but we want to get our whole contract, our first contract done with the UFC by the middle of the next year.
And that way we can keep climbing up the ranks, keep getting paid more and more, and along the way, getting that ranking, getting yourself in the conversation for a belt. So, what
Yes.
do we think those next few steps are going to look like for you?
I'm trying to get there as quick as possible. I think with how UFC works and how if I do get in some wars before then, I don't think it'll take any much longer than 2 years to become a UFC champion at middleweight or 70. I think I can beat Sean Strickland right now as we speak, and that's not even me talking crazy or being overconfident. I know I can beat him right now, and I mean that. I think I can chop that leg up if he comes out in the Philly show. I know I can take him down whenever I want. and I'm really ready to take over the division. I'm ready to show the world what I'm capable of doing, and I completely believe it when I say it, that I can take over the middleweight, the welterweight division. I don't know about 205 yet or heavyweight. I ain't going to talk crazy because I'm way too small for them, but I will be taking over the middleweight or welterweight division very soon.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that path can be quick. I mean, as we saw, a guy at light heavyweight like Pereira, it took him 3, 4 fights to get to the belt at 185. So I don't think you're talking crazy at all. And I actually think a guy like Sean Strickland is a great example for you to use because at the end of the day, nobody expected him to beat Izzy. So it doesn't
No,
really matter what the people think. It just depends on the day. And he believed in himself the same way you believe in yourself. And I think that's going to carry you a long way. And I'm excited to see you in some fights and hopefully wars that are one-sided towards you, but some nice fun wars. And so maybe, yeah, I know you said Sean Strickland, but what might be a dream matchup for you?
um, man, I'm ready for every single person in the top 20, top 10. But regardless who wants to sign the contract first, I'm ready. We've been studying some of the guys that we might potentially go against, and I'm a really bad matchup for a lot of them. I'm scary to them. I know that they're worried about me already. I know they're watching. I know they've seen that last one. I know they've seen how much weight I cut and how good I still looked in there, and I know they're nervous. I know they're like, "Ooh, what if I get in that?" I know they know I got hands. I know they know I got wrestling. I got the full package, and I'm ready. No specific names, but anybody watching, any middleweight watching, I'm ready for you, regardless who you are or what your name is. From wrestling to striking, I can bring it all to the table. And if you want me to take you down, I'll take you down. If you want me to stand up with you, I can stand up with you. I got the full package, and I'm coming for that title as quick as possible. I can't wait to come back to this podcast and show it off to everybody.
And I was about to say, I mean, I feel like we could sit here and talk all day. I was gonna say we might have to book you out real soon because we're coming up on our time today, and I feel like I've got so many more questions up here that I want to ask, and I think the fans are gonna love to hear your story. And I think as the story progresses, there's gonna be so many more chapters and so many more achievements that are gonna be fun to watch. So I really, I'm gonna ask you this question, kind of as our concluding question. I'd like you to speak to, maybe that Kenwood wrestling team, maybe some of those younger guys that are coming up, they're seeing your path and seeing what you're doing, the success you've had, the determination, the grit, and the quickness that you've done it with. Speak to those people and you know, let them know like what you wish someone told you when you first got started.
Um, if you're trying to do it, surround yourself around the people that fit your future. If you want to make it to the UFC, surround yourself around people that are trying to fight full time, the ones that are trying to put the time in that nobody else are doing, the ones that are the last one to leave the room and the first one to get there on time. If you're trying to go be anything else, a baseball star, NFL star, surround yourself around people that want to do that too, not are trying to do it for the cameras or for social media or for to say they're doing it. Do it for people that are sitting there and they're actually doing it. Surround yourself around a support system that truly supports you, and until you find that support system, keep going, keep finding it, keep looking for it. I went all the way 8 hours across the map to find Findlay, Ohio, random town that no one knows about. It's a little town that you would see in a Hallmark movie or something like that. And I'm living there in the back of a gym around full 20, 30 people that don't even know me, but they support me because they see how much I care about it and they see how much I want to do it. And that helped me. The circle you have around you will help you become who you want to be and bloom to be who you want. Fill your soil, water your soil with positivity and become positive within so you can make what happen you want to happen when you want it to happen. And be mindless.
Be mindless. I think that's a phrase that we're going to hear one time soon, maybe out of the big boss's mouth. Maybe it'll be Bruce Buffer. Who knows? But someone's going to be saying that. It's going to catch up. So make sure you get that gear now. Join the train now before the hype train has left the station. I mean, I'm excited to see what you got going on next, man. So I'd like to leave the floor to you. If you've got any closing remarks or any shout outs that you'd like to give, please let's hear what you got.
Make sure you check out Jake's podcast to see what we're talking about. And if you ain't followed to his page, you ain't followed to the right podcast. Dreams, what's that say?
Dreams don't work unless you do.
And dreams definitely don't work unless you do, as Jake put on the thing. And as I said personally, follow my boy on everything. Follow me on everything. And I can't wait to hear what y'all think about the podcast.
My guy, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you for coming on today. Make sure you stay tuned for his next fight, that merch drop, and everything else to come. But we are signing off.
Deuces.